thought Boots were the only two out there.
Listen, I'm telling you, he's here.
And I'm telling you, he is not here.
Yes,
Who knew that stating the obvious could curse your whole bloodline? In dead silence, Jamie pays the price for one family member's innocent comment and learns that not only is silence golden, it may very well keep you alive. After a mysterious package shows up at his door, Jamie's life takes a chilling turn. A ventriloquist doll, a ghost with unfinished business, and a curse that's been hunting his family for generations turns his life upside down. This movie proves that some legends don't just die, they will wait in the quiet for their revenge. With that being said, while watching this movie, I noticed some things, and I have my thoughts. But before we get to that, it's time to recap. So let's get into it. As the movie starts, we meet Lisa and Jamie. Since Jamie was taking longer than expected fixing their sink, Lisa begged him to get takeout. Before they could figure out what they wanted, they received an unexpected package at their door, a doll. Lisa and Jamie find it quirky at first, but then it got kind of creepy the more they stared at the doll. While Jamie went to grab their takeout order, Lisa remained home with their new guest. She starts getting creeped out by it, so much so that she covers the doll's body with the sheet. That doll would have been outside on the balcony if it were up to me. No ma'am. Shortly after, the apartment got eerily quiet. Lisa was already nervous, but now she was officially scared. She went back into the room where the doll was, and as she lifted the sheet, and it was pretty much a wrap for Lisa. As Jamie returned to their apartment, the teapot was screaming, the music was still playing, everything looked pretty normal. Until...
Lisa!
He walks into the hallway, nearly slipping on Lisa's blood. Same time, he calls her name and she answers back. Or so he thought. He was definitely hearing her voice, but it wasn't Lisa. Jamie's pretty much in a daze after this. This has to be traumatic for him because not only did he lose his wife, but he'd literally just seen her alive and well, and not even an hour later, she was brutally murdered. Then, to make things worse, he was now a suspect. Detective Lipton had Jamie as number 1 and probably the only one on his suspect list. He didn't care to dig too deep, completely ignoring the package they received not even an hour before Lisa died. Jamie tells him that for him, a doll or dummy is a bad omen, but Lipton didn't want to hear it.
I've never arrested a dummy for murder before, but I have arrested quite a few husbands.
Lipton brings up that Jamie told him he'd heard Lisa's voice right before he found her body. This didn't make sense because she didn't have a tongue, so things were looking really suspicious for him. After leaving the police station, Jamie went home. He found the doll on the floor and brought it back to the case it came in. After ripping the fabric from the case, he found that the doll belonged to Mary Shaw, ventriloquist from his hometown. So Jamie goes back home. His first stop was his father, Edward's home. He meets his new stepmother, Ella. While she was excited to see him, he was thrown off by her excitement and the fact that she knew more about him than he did her. He asked to speak with Edward, and he's shocked to find that his dad is now in a wheelchair. He learned that Edward had a stroke 2 weeks ago, and after having this health event, he was seeking redemption. He offered to pay for Lisa's funeral, but Jamie didn't want his help. Jamie brought up the poem that his mother used to recite to him. He had trouble remembering the name of it, but once he recited a few lines, Edward and Ella were able to recognize it. Edward waved it off as something parents told their children to get them in line, but of course, Jamie thought there was more to it. Ella offers Jamie a room to stay, but Jamie declines and leaves the house. Jamie's next stop was to Henry, the local mortician, to arrange Lisa's funeral. After they set up her arrangements, Jamie goes to a local motel to get some rest. Unfortunately for him, his slumber wouldn't be peaceful. In the middle of the night, it gets dead silent. Not even a drop of water could be heard. Suddenly, When he wakes up, he finds the doll as it was, sitting in the corner as if nothing happened. We fast forward to Henry receiving Lisa's body. He's shocked at the sight of her. Same time, Marion starts acting up more than usual. She hides herself within the house and she warns Henry that she is here, she being Mary Shaw, but Henry thinks she's just talking out of her head. After Lisa's funeral, Jamie walks into the woods. Marion comes to him with a warning.
She's here. No one's safe.
No, Marion, you leave him alone.
Marion might not have been all there, but she had just enough sense to know that trouble was coming. Ironically, Jamie stumbled upon Mary Shaw's grave. He heads back to the motel and grabs the doll. He takes the doll with him as he drives back to Mary Shaw's grave. He didn't even notice the doll giving him the mean side eye the entire ride there. When he makes it to the cemetery, he found Billy's grave, which was close to Mary Shaw's grave, and attempts to bury him. Again, it gets dead silent, but it doesn't stop Jamie from doing what he came to do. He buries Billy and heads back to the car. But then he comes back to the motel thinking that this nightmare was over, but not so fast. Lipton had brought Billy back from the grave. Lipton assumed that Jamie buried Billy to hide evidence of him killing Lisa. Lipton was so busy following Jamie, he wasn't even trying to truly investigate Lisa's death. He wanted an easy win, I guess. He again ignored the fact that his wife received a suspicious package an hour before she was killed. He just wanted to know why he buried the doll. If Jamie thought he would get a breather from Lipton, he was wrong, because Lipton was now his neighbor. The next morning, after Jamie sees Lipton leaving, he sets off for Henry's. When he arrived, he saw Marion sitting outside. He immediately asked her about Mary Shaw, but Marion swiftly gets up and goes back into the house. Henry comes outside and tells Jamie that he wasn't supposed to have the doll. Henry gave Jamie the backstory on Mary Shaw. So, one time, long ago, he went to the theater to see Mary Shaw's show. During the show, Billy hid from Mary. Ironically, Billy was under Henry's seat, so Mary instructed him to bring Billy to her. While everyone was amused by Billy and Mary, Henry was visibly uncomfortable. While Mary and Billy were talking to the crowd, a kid complained that he could see Mary's lips moving. Mary quickly proved him to be a liar.
I think we should show this boy just how real I am. I'm just as real as him.
No.
No! I'm as real as you are,
Leave
and I'll
him
show
alone, Billy.
you. I'll show him what it's
Listen
like,
to me,
brother.
that's enough.
I'm as real
No
as you.
more.
Bring him up here.
Unfortunately, a few weeks later, that same boy who challenged Mary went missing. Mary had requested that her dolls be buried with her. Henry's father was in charge of prepping her body for her funeral. Mary had an odd request. She wanted to become a doll after her death. Henry, being nosy, went downstairs to peek at Mary Shaw's body and got the scare of his life. Ever since she died, there have been deaths popping up around town, all with their tongue cut out. Henry previously told Jamie that Mary lived out of the theater, so Jamie wanted to check it out. Meanwhile, Lipton had come back to Mary Shaw's grave to do some further digging. The theater had seen some better days. It had been pretty much destroyed due to the lack of upkeep. Jamie looks around, and for some reason he gets on this unstable platform, but it leads him into Mary Shaw's living quarters. He finds a book that contains pictures and drawings of the perfect doll that Mary Shaw longed to create. He also found a missing poster of the kid Henry told him about. Back at Henry's, Henry overhears Marion talking to someone.
Say something. Why have you gone so quiet?
Henry takes the doll into another room. As Henry grabs a shovel to bury the doll, he overhears Marion talking again. But this time, it wasn't Marion. Jamie goes back to his father's house to confront him. He demanded that Edward tell him about Mary Shaw. Edward tells him that long ago, Jamie's uncle disappeared without a trace. Reminder, his uncle was the heckler that Henry told him about. Mary Shaw was blamed for his disappearance, and without evidence of her being behind his disappearance, they sought their own justice and ripped her tongue out. And now, because of that, Mary Shaw was desperately trying to get it back in blood. Just as Jamie was leaving his father's house, Lipton popped up on him yet again. He'd found that Mary Shaw's dolls, all 100 of them, had been dug up. As they're talking, Henry miraculously calls to Edward's home to tell Jamie that he has proof that he didn't kill his wife and to meet him at Mary Shaw's theater. Jamie pleads with Lipton to come with him to the theater so they could get this proof that Henry had, but Lipton was being difficult and didn't believe him, so Jamie dipped out without him. Jamie makes it back to the theater, but of course, Henry is nowhere to be found. Yet, his voice leads Jamie back to Mary Shaw's living quarters. Lipton pops up again, still talking mess, until...
He's here. Nobody's here. Our boats were the only two out there. Listen, I'm telling you, he's here.
And I'm telling you, he is not here.
Now he wanted to listen. It only took 90% of the movie for him to do so. Jamie goes toward where he heard Henry's voice. He warned Lipton not to scream. As they continue to walk through the theater, Lipton notices a random doll. He gets irritated and throws it, which knocks down the curtain. When the curtain falls, they find all the dolls that were once buried with Mary Shaw delicately placed in a display. Billy was the only doll missing. As they look around more, they notice another doll, but surprise, surprise, it wasn't a doll. It was an actual boy, Jamie's uncle that Henry and Edward told him about. Suddenly, it gets dead silent. The only noise that could be heard was each doll turning its head. Jamie asks Mary Shaw what she wants.
To silence all those who silenced me.
Jamie asks Mary why she took Lisa away from him. She asked him to come closer so she could tell him, and his crazy ass actually did it. She tells him that Lisa was pregnant and she killed her to prevent another Asher from being born. Shortly after, all the dolls start exploding. Jamie realizes that Mary Shaw was living in each of the dolls. Jamie and Lipton start a fire in the theater and haul ass out of there, but unfortunately for Lipton, he broke the #1 rule. Jamie's able to make it out of the theater, but he realizes that Billy is still missing. He heads to Henry's house to find that Henry's been dead this whole time. Marion tells him that Edward took Billy, but Jamie reminds her that his father was in a wheelchair, but Marion knew what she saw. Unlike her husband, Jamie listened to her and went to his father's home to get some answers. As soon as he arrives, it gets dead silent for a moment. Then Jamie starts to hear his father's voice. Eventually, he finds Billy and Mary Shaw, but he's able to keep her at bay by placing Billy in the fireplace. He notices his father sitting in the corner. Turns out, Edward's been dead this whole time. He'd been turned into a doll, and Ella, Mary Shaw's perfect doll come true, had been controlling him the entire time. And so finally...
Now, who's the dummy?
Child, all because a kid challenged her at a show. Crazy work. That was the end of the movie, and here are my final thoughts. This movie still creeps me out. And I can sit through Child's Play without flinching because Chucky cracks me up now, but Dead Silence, nah, this movie still makes me nervous. It's pretty messed up how a whole bloodline had to pay for such a minor thing. A child telling a ventriloquist that he saw her lips moving. Granted, they did find Mary Shaw and rip out her tongue, but that was after she kidnapped Jamie's uncle and turned him into a doll. So I'd say it was pretty even from there, but no. Mary Shaw wanted to end the entire family, including the baby in Lisa's belly. In my opinion, it wasn't that serious. The kid was annoying, okay, but Mary didn't have to do all that. It also irked me how Lipton didn't want to do his damn job. Yes, husbands are more than likely to be behind the murders of their wives, but he didn't even do the bare minimum of detective work. A mysterious ventriloquist doll shows up out of nowhere. People's tongues are going missing, and you still think it's the husband. I also hated how Henry didn't listen to Marion. Marion was out of it, but somehow had more sense than everyone in the movie. That twist in the end got me, and what makes it so good is that if you watch this movie again, knowing that Edward was dead the whole time, you can actually see the little clues. Her lips slightly moving when Edward talks, the way his head drops after she finishes speaking for him, it mirrors exactly how Mary Shaw performed with Billy. That detail alone makes this movie worth revisiting. Dead Silence might not get talked about as much as the other horror movies from this era, but it holds up. It's creepy, unsettling, and it has one of the best twists of the 2000s horror era. Rewatching it reminds me why silence in horror is way more terrifying than any jump scare. Anyway, that's it for this recap. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. As for the next recap, this is a personal favorite of mine that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's a good one. So, 1997, he's never lost a case, but when the devil's your boss, winning might just cost you your soul. See you next time, you guys. Bye.